Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Dr. Morse's Herbal Therapeutics for Maintaining Holistic Health. Before we get started, I'd just like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. You've joined the presentation listening using your computer's speaker system by default. You will have the opportunity to submit text questions to today's presenter by typing your questions into the questions pane of the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation, and we will collect these questions and address them throughout the presentation and during the Q&A session at the end of today's webinar. So today's webinar is being recorded, and you will receive a follow-up email within 24 to 48 hours with a link to view the recording. Now remember, this webinar is for educational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. Dr. Morse's is not responsible for individual decisions or actions taken based on this webinar. For personalized guidance, consult a healthcare professional. And now I would like to introduce today's presenter, Colleen Bingham. Hi, Colleen.
Hi, Jen. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our final educational webinar of 2023. Woo, today we are doing things a little bit differently. So tomorrow is winter solstice, right? And we're finally here. We've made it to winter. So there's a lot of unique healthcare opportunities and self-care opportunities for wintertime. And that's what we're covering today. My goal is to give you a general picture of how winter may impact your health and to offer you tools for sustaining wellness until the light returns next spring. So if this is your first time with us, welcome. We've been offering free educational webinars on the individual body system since May of this year, 2023. So there are blogs and webinars on our website. All of the recordings from all these webinars are there and accessible for you to revisit whenever you'd like. We have a webinar recording and blog for the lymphatic, digestive, urinary, nervous, circulatory, and endocrine systems. And we also have Jen's Holistic Health Protocols webinar. So definitely go back and check out all of those. They're very easy to access. You just go to our website, you click the Learn tab, you click Body Systems Webinars, and then you will see the whole treasure trove that we have compiled there. And Jen's actually going to drop the link to that directly to that window for you right now in the chat. Yeah, so definitely use those up and spend the winter months just reminding yourselves of all these great body systems and how they function. So my name is Colleen Bingham, and I will be your guide today. I am a certified herbalist, and I have been walking the plant path as a passion and a career for the past 13 years. I am Director of Education and Innovation here at Dr. Morse's and an alumni of Dr. Morse's International School of Healing Arts. I'm an educator for an institute for herbology in Sonoma County, California, where I live, and I'm a natural product formulator. And today I am joined by Jen B and Stephanie, who some of you probably know very well. They have been your support team here at Dr. Morse's for over 10 years. They'll be fielding all of your questions throughout the webinar. And we are also so honored to have all of our alumni here of the International School of Healing Arts. We have our retail partners, customers, people brand new to the Dr. Morse community. We welcome you all. And what brought us here today? Dr. Robert Morse, whose life work it is to unlock the body's natural ability to heal by supporting its regenerative detoxification process. For over 45 years, Dr. Morse has been educating humanity on how to remove obstructions in the physical and energetic channels connecting body, mind, and spirit through his supportive and transformative herbal supplement formulas and proper diet, of course. And over the years, we have witnessed profound health shifts by encouraging deep detoxification within the body through the diet and the support of our herbal supplements. Our emphasis on education is all about empowering you to architect your unique health journey and allow you to make informed choices about your personal health goals. And thank you. We just all here at Dr. Morse's want to thank you for being a part of the Dr. Morse family, where our community, where our collective journey towards a vibrant health is a powerful force for global healing. Real quick, I'm going to turn on my do not disturb. Okay, great. So today you will be available to ask questions throughout the webinar. You have a questions pane, as Jen mentioned, on your webinar screen. So at any time, type a question in there, and Jen and Stephanie will do their best to try and answer your questions throughout the webinar. If there's time, we will reserve the last 10 minutes for questions and answers, but I have a unique blend of information I'm giving you today that may take longer than usual. So we will see. But if you do not get your question answered, you can always email us at info@dmhhc.com. And Jen, if you wouldn't mind typing that email address into the chat. Yeah, so you can always just send your questions to us at any time at that email address, info@dmhhc.com. And we also encourage you to stick around till the end of the presentation, not only because I have so much amazing content that I'm going to be giving you today, but also because we'll be revealing a discount code. It's a gift card for all of the formulas that I will be talking about with you today. So you'll be able to go for the next 48 hours onto our site and get a nice discount on all of those formulas so that you are prepared for the coming winter. Okay. And so our agenda today, again, is a little bit different. I won't be doing any deep dives into the anatomy and physiology of a single body system. I'll be kind of bouncing around to different body systems based on everything that's falling into our holistic health category we'll be talking about today. And I'm also going to be talking kidney support, and I'm also going to be talking respiratory and eye support. So we'll be dabbling with our lung support category and our kidney support category and a lot of our holistic health products to get you through these winter months. So without any further ado, let's start with just a general concept of what it means to be entering winter. So tomorrow, Thursday, is winter solstice, the 21st of December. It's a really profound day. I always feel like the solstices are this incredible celebration of not only the passage of time, but a celebration of life. We are here on this planet. We are moving in synchronicity with all of these plants and elements and organisms, and you play your individual part, and also you are embodying this detoxification health protocol. It's just really incredible to celebrate that in these moments. Now, winter can be a difficult time of year for a lot of people. Granted, we've actually been working our way up to winter, and now it is winter. Solstice is the longest night of the year. So tomorrow night is the longest night of the year, and then every night thereafter, the sun is actually coming back. The nights get shorter and shorter. The darkness gets shorter and shorter. So in a way, you've kind of made it. You've already made it through the past 2 months where the days have grown shorter and the nights have grown darker. And that's really the hardest part. So now tomorrow we get to celebrate the returning of the sun. And, but meanwhile, we have probably all been impacted by all the things that we feel during these winter months. The transition is going into the darkness. It's introversion, it's self-reflection and self-care. Winter is all about slowing down. And a really incredible opportunity this time of year is all about death and rebirth. If you were to look at a lot of Native people's traditions around the seasons, which, we all live in communion with this earth, and so the seasons are really an important guide to health shifts and taking care of ourselves. A lot of Native peoples associate the wintertime with death and dying, and then spring is rebirth, right? So a lot of what has culminated for you this year it's time to shed that. It's time to just take things and shut them down, close them down, sign off, and get rid of a lot that has culminated this year. It's time to take all of that and recharge it with new intentions. So we can, so you have this time, this peace, this quiet, this darkness to sit and reflect on what you have done and what you want to do with that, how you want that all to manifest, and how you want those intentions to manifest for you with the coming spring. So this is a time of reflection and creating all of that kind of intention and wonder for next year. So really sit with that if you can. Okay, what are we looking at right now? So this is the winter wheel. This is from a book that I love and I've probably talked about with you before. Elson Haas wrote Staying Healthy with the Seasons, and this was back in 1981. It's a great book. He's a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, and he writes through the Western lens, so it's really kind of approachable for folks, and it goes season by season. So this is the winter wheel, and this is showing you how traditional Chinese medicine associates the winter with all these different themes. So we're going to break this down a little bit right now before we dive more into our individual body systems and support. So the element of the winter, if we want to start right there, is water. Makes a lot of sense, right? There's water just pouring out of the sky. This is for anyone who lives in the northern hemisphere, right? This is the time of year of water. We are watching it channeled and pooled and collected on everything all around us, and same thing inside of our bodies. How are the waters of your body doing? The way that you can look to them, this whole wheel is giving you all these different indicators for how well balanced your water is in the body. So obviously the organs that are associated with winter are going to be the kidneys and the bladder, and the fluid is going to be urine. So these are all, associated with water and the movement of water throughout the body. So let's look at a couple of other things here. The taste is salty. So salt, I've talked about before when we talked about our kidneys and bladder and our urinary tract. As we intake salt and minerals from our foods, our body uses those to maintain homeostasis. And the kidneys really need a balanced complex of minerals in order to function properly. So how is your salt intake? How is your mineral intake? You can definitely get a lot of your vitamins and nutrients just from eating a really healthy diet of fruits and vegetables. But if you're noticing that you're either craving salt or detesting salt, that could be an indication that you have a water imbalance, okay? And let's see, the sound is groan. You can think of all of the weight of the snow on the trees, makes the trees kind of groan. And with every season, there's a sound associated with it. There's laughter and sighing, and this is groaning. So if you're noticing that you're like doing a lot of that this time of year, maybe that sounds familiar. That might be an indication that you have a water imbalance. It could be just as simple as getting more hydrating foods into your diet and helping those kidneys get what they need. The emotion associated with the season is fear. We're going to talk more about that in a moment. But if you're noticing that you're feeling fear, that's totally valid. And it's a time of year of introversion, right? We're all hibernating in our caves. It's not always comfortable to go out and socialize. It's interesting that we live in a society where we have 3 holidays in a row that are all about exuberance and socialization in the middle of winter, right? We've got Thanksgiving, we've got Hanukkah, Christmas, we've got the New Year, and that's all like go out there and socialize and get presents and go, 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 when our bodies and the season is telling us to slow down. One thing I will mention about that is it's also important to be with community this time of year, because being with people you love releases oxytocin. So maybe that's why we have these holidays in the dark months, is to remind us of the love that is around us. So anyway, back to fear. Yeah, it's totally valid to feel that fear, but you can bring that back into balance by thinking about your water intake. Cold and north, those make sense, right? Quality is storage, stored things in the kidney, hoarding, things like that. The organ is sound and hearing, and hair is the indicator. And this is really tiny. Bones are the tissue. Yeah, so in balance, keep warm, stay quiet, sleep well, be at home, look within, and preserving and giving. And then out of balance, overactive, late nights and parties, lacks of rest and sleep, dissipation, frustration, and hoarding, okay? So interesting things to think about, right? And a really great read if you want to get this book and read all about the winter season and how you can support yourself. So let's talk about these kidneys and how we can keep them in balance this time of year. So the kidneys are the seat, according to traditional Chinese medicine, the kidneys are the seat of the will and willpower. The emotion associated with winter is fear, right? So supporting the kidneys this time of year can strengthen your willpower and willingness. The opposite of fear, willingness. Get yourself out there, believe in yourself. Also within the kidneys, essence is stored, and they govern all that is secluded and dormant, that is hoarded up. Their condition is disclosed in the bones and the head hair. Okay, so these are all places that you can look to see how your kidneys are doing. Just beyond, oh, my back kind of hurts, I have like a little lower back pain, maybe it's my kidneys. That also could be a good indicator as well. So consume plenty of water. Cooked raw vegetables and fruits to maintain kidney function and keep minerals in the blood. This will promote proper kidney function and maintain homeostasis in the body. Embrace the yin of winter versus the yang of summer, internal versus external. It's time to conserve energy and resources. Too much cold and wet is felt in the bones. If you're feeling discomfort in the bones or kidneys, get yourself warm and dry. Imbalances in the water element can manifest as rapid changes in the health of your hair, cravings or distaste for salt, bone and kidney discomfort, and fertility imbalances. So these are all things that you can think of with that holistic picture of how are my kidneys doing? How is my urinary tract system doing? And we just so happen to have this wonderful supportive formula. I mean, no surprise, Dr. Morse, it's like the urinary tract is the first system that we look to when we're talking about rejuvenation and detoxification. This is our major eliminatory pathway, right? Especially when it comes to lymphatic fluids being removed from the body, healthy balance of the blood and blood pressure. Kidneys are the controller of all of that. And so they need to be functioning properly. And this, I love this particular kidneys and bladder formula. It's kidneys and bladder hydrates. That's the one I decided to focus on today, because we're talking about maintaining like that juicy, supple, watery quality inside the body. And this is a great formula for that. It contains multiple hydrating herbs. Marshmallow and chickweed are both really full of these mucilaginous polysaccharides you've probably heard me talk about before. More about that in a moment, but they're really good at moistening the tissues of the body wherever they touch. Then you've got juniper, hydrangea, and cleavers. They are naturally diuretic herbs that help with the removal of excess fluid buildup and support healthy functioning of the kidneys. Okay, so we're going to look a little bit more at a few of these awesome herbs. So where I'm going to be dispersing these herbal monographs throughout this presentation today. So marshmallow root, which, you know, its name lended itself to the confectionery that was created because of it. So believe it or not, marshmallows were originally made with marshmallow root, and that's because they contain so much of this mucilaginous polysaccharide. Mucilage, think mucus, thick and slimy, but not in a gross way, in an awesome way. They contain up to 18 to 35% mucilaginous polysaccharides within marshmallow root. And on top of that, they're about 35% pectin, which is also really good at holding water molecules. So you're familiar with mucilaginous polysaccharides if you use chia or flax. If you know anything about xanthan gum and its thickening properties, or any of those other agar, gum arabic, anything like that, those are all hydrocolloids. They're all really good at what they do is these molecules, they gather up water. They gather and hold it. They love it. They gather it and gather it until they get thicker and thicker, until you've colloided all these polysaccharides. They're all spread out evenly because they're bumping into each other at this point. And the more they bump into each other and the more water they hold, the more they thicken the water and become like a gel. And what that's doing is it's washing over the tissues of your body that we've, you know, studies have shown. You can see it in the digestive tract, the urinary tract, and the respiratory tract are all benefited from these wonderful hydrating molecules that, as they wash over the tissues of your body, are leaving behind this lovely hydrating polysaccharide residue that's kind of mucilaginous. And that's just helping to build and maintain hydration within the body. So marshmallow root is impeccable for that. You can take it in our kidneys and bladder hydration formula, but you can also just make a cold infusion of marshmallow root. You get the root from your local herb store or online, and you add it to cold water. Cold water is best. I usually use an immersion blender to break it up a little bit more. You know, if you have big pieces of marshmallow root, you're not going to get as thick of water as if you break them down even more. And you leave that in your fridge and you strain it and sip it for a couple of days, and you just have really added a lot of excess moisture to the body. So if you're feeling like you're off and you're feeling dry and your kidneys are kind of taking a hit and you need to get more hydration in the body, consider a cold infusion of marshmallow root. And so chickweed is another very similar to marshmallow root. It has those mucilaginous polysaccharides that we love so much. It's a springtime herb and it's very short-lived. It's an annual. It just pops up for a little time in the spring. It's a really yummy edible herb that you can add to salads and things. And as you chew on the leaf, you can actually taste or like experience the slippery sliminess of that mucilage. So everything that we just talked about for marshmallow root is applicable here with chickweed. And I just love that he's packed 2 of these great hydrating herbs into this formula. But also chickweed is loaded with saponins. And if you know me, you know how much I love a saponin. Maybe you've made soap before and you know about the saponification process where you're making a saponin molecule. But saponins are really cool because they have a water-loving head and an oil-loving tail, which is not usual for a molecule. There's different polarity going on there. So they're able to actually create a foam. If you've ever, I mean, I work with herbs a lot, so I've experienced this before playing around in my herbal lab, but if you have like a licorice root if infusion, either an extract or something, you can shake it and you'll see all the saponin bubbles on the top of the liquid. Even your not your marshmallow root, but yeah, if you did a licorice root cold infusion, you would see that. And licorice root also is highly mucilaginous. Okay, I digress. So you've got this saponin molecule, and what it's doing is it's creating that little bit of foam, and that's kind of rinsing off all the tissues of the body. And also it's mildly irritating, which is interesting because what it's doing through that mild irritation is it's causing things to kind of react. It's getting things activated. It's helping to mildly stimulate these body systems. So it's good for that in the kidneys and bladder to help kind of get things moving, right? And get things moving out. We're talking about how the system can be bogged down. The word hoarding was brought up. So moving things out and keeping things fluid in the kidneys, the saponins can really help with that. Okay, great. And then juniper berry is in, I believe, every single one of Dr. Morse's kidney bladder formulas, and it's for good reason. It's a great diuretic herb. It's got resins, tannins, and essential oils, so it's really got a great affinity for the kidneys, and especially good at balancing out a healthy microbiome in the kidneys, so not letting any kind of foreign microbes get in there and invade, keeping things really balanced in that way. Tannins imply tone and astringency, so tightening of the tissues, which can kind of enliven the tissues and get them working at optimal level. And essential oil content. So that essential oil content is a big one for helping with the microbiome. I'm just going to read this. It's a well-known diuretic herb, juniper. It's an alterative, and it brings nutrients to the eliminatory system, specifically the urinary tract, to stimulate the function of the kidneys and the flow of urine. So small amounts of juniper berry support circulation and glomerular filtration in the kidneys, and it has a high volatile oil content, which helps with that balanced bacterial microbiome. But high volatile oil content means that juniper berry can be irritating to the kidneys. So that's why we love this formula with the marshmallow and the chickweed to balance out that mild irritation with all that slippery, yummy hydration. Okay, so that's the idea behind supporting your kidneys this time of year. We're now going to shift to a new body system. We're going to move to the skin. So hopefully you understand the seat of willpower lives in the kidneys. And this time of year, our water levels in the body are going to manifest as hair and bone kind of changes, as well as maybe a mild kind of discomfort in the kidneys. Keep yourself warm, keep yourself dry, and keep all that yummy hydration flowing through the body to maintain that balance in the kidneys. So I really love the skin. I have a whole background in formulating topical products. I think the skin is really fascinating. I've talked with lots of estheticians, and I am going to attempt to get you as pumped about the skin as I am in a very short amount of time. So here we go. The skin, of course, takes a really big hit in the winter. I'm sure, I mean, I'm experiencing it right now. I really go through a lot of lotion in the winter months because I'm already a very dry constitution. So I just get really hit hard with all the wind and the dry weather, and it just sucks the moisture right out of my skin. So it's all about how do we work with this incredible organ. It's the largest organ in our body. What can I do to maintain the integrity of my skin this time of year? Because not only is it going to make me feel better and feel more supple, but our skin is our primary immune barrier. It's the first immune barrier of the immune system. We'll get more into that in a moment. And it also is where we have our acid mantle, and it's also our third kidney. So we really need our skin working for us for a lot of reasons. So let's talk about why. So quick anatomy and physiology. Right here, you've got the epidermis, which is the outermost layer of the skin, the one that's presenting itself to the world. What I always say to people is, you know, all I see on you is your dead skin cells, because that's all we really are. That's the outermost layer, is just nothing but dead keratin and skin cells. So what's happening is that you've got your epidermis with all your skin cells being born and dying. And then underneath that, you've got your dermis. And this is where all the yummy stuff is happening. This is where it's really fluid. It's called the extracellular matrix. In there, you've got collagen production, hyaluronic acid, you've got melanin, and this is where your blood is channeling and bringing nutrients to the skin. This is where your lymph is flowing. It's all happening in that second layer, the dermal layer. And all that nutrients, all that blood, all of those collagen and hyaluronic acid molecules, what they're doing is they're producing skin cells. And as the skin cells are produced, They are supple and yummy. There they are, that first layer of skin cells. And then they start to move up the conveyor belt towards the outermost epidermis, right? So as they're moving up this conveyor belt, they're being pushed against this wall of air, right? Oxygen. They're getting oxygen, they're getting oxidized. And what's happening is all that's sucking all the moisture out of them. They no longer have access to their nutrient source, and they essentially die. So then we get them stacked here, and they get squished, and eventually they get flaky and completely dried out, and that's what we slough off, and that's called a squamous epithelial cell. Squamous because it's been flattened. Okay, so that's the conveyor belt of new skin cells being born, and that's just kind of a quick recap on anatomy and physiology of the skin, or anatomy of the skin. So this first barrier function of the immune system, that's a really important one. So your skin, this first organ, or this largest organ, is helping you with maintaining a healthy immune balance and protecting us from foreign microbes, okay? So we have a literal physical barrier is the skin. So if something bumps up against it, it probably just bounces off, or then it potentially gets neutralized by what's called our acid mantle. So we have both a physical barrier and we have an acidic element or a chemical barrier to our skin, which is our acid mantle. Our acid mantle is comprised of a combination of two things. We have our sebaceous oil ducts here, and as those oil ducts, as the hair follicle grows, the oil is brought up to the surface of the skin. And then you also have your sweat glands, and your sweat glands are bringing water to the surface of the skin, or sweat, a lot of urea on the skin. So the combination of sweat and oil produces this acid mantle. And it's really important that our acid mantle is intact and healthy, because it's protecting us against invading microbes, right? So before we even breathe anything in, as we're walking through the world, and let's be honest, there's a lot of funky stuff out there, we are protected because of our shell. Our skin cells literally are keratin, which is the same stuff that makes a shell, a seashell. So we are completely covered by this layer, the shell that is here to protect us against these invaders. And so how do we maintain that healthy skin and keep all these things functioning? Okay, one more thing I want to mention here is the third kidney, the sweat. So as we sweat, we're actually relieving pressure from the system. You've got your kidneys, which are working to remove all the excess waters from the body. But as you sweat, you're actually giving your kidneys a bit of a break, because you're taking a lot of that excess fluid and removing it through the skin. So especially with compromised kidneys or overtaxed kidneys, promoting sweat and really working with that with that third kidney and sweating it all out is great for supporting the kidneys as well. Okay. So let's see, here we have 3 key factors for healthy skin acid mantle. So here's how we work with the skin and do our self-care practices to maintain this healthy balance. 1, stay supple. So that's all about keeping these oil glands producing oil, keeping oil in the body, keeping enough oil in the body that we're moving it out through the hair follicle. 2, allowing for the growth of your hair follicle. If you shave anywhere in your body, or if you wax, you are potentially staunching the growth of hair. And so how do we encourage hair growth? In order to move that sebaceous oil to the surface of the skin. And finally, sweating. Okay, so these are the trifecta of keeping your skin healthy. So let's take a look at these in closer detail. So I think that anyone here who's really doing Dr. Morse's protocols and really following the dietary protocols that are in place is doing a really great job of staying really supple, because a lot of what we're getting from our fruit and our juices and our vegetables is going to be rich in what our body needs to produce this excess oil. I know those of you who produce a lot of oil naturally are probably like, oh, come on, I want the opposite of that. You've probably experienced some acne in your life. But I have to say, as someone who's extremely dry, you are very lucky, and you will present to the world as younger than you are for much longer than I will. So embrace your oily sebaceous glands and continue to promote that production of oil. Okay, so omega-3 fatty acids, of course, you've got fish oil as a supplement that you can use here, but also flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts. Those are all really great places to get your omega-3 oils. Antioxidants, antioxidant-rich foods. So you've got this whole layer here of raw fruits and vegetables and green smoothies and juices and essentially all of this stuff up here, it's just going to be super high in antioxidants. It's going to be super high in zinc. Oh, I have a typo there. This is supposed to be vitamin A, vitamin E, probiotics. You can get probiotics from your fermented foods, and low glycemic foods, right? So we already do that as detoxifiers. All of our low glycemic foods are foods that aren't sugary snacks or refined carbohydrates, okay? If you are off a detox protocol and you're introducing things like grains and legumes, that's a great way to eat low glycemic foods. Also, all of your vegetables help to stabilize those blood sugar levels. So just diet alone is going to really be beneficial for skin health. And then, let's see. Okay, so that's number one, keeping your sebaceous glands oily. Number two, allowing for hair growth. One of the best ways I've found for that is to always keep a really good exfoliation or exfoliator in your self-care routine. So right here, you see someone using what looks like probably a salt scrub. And I love scrubs. I love sugar and salt scrubs more than anything as far as exfoliating. Because I'm dry, a sugar or a salt scrub is going to have an oily component to it. And so it always leaves my skin feeling really hydrated. Dry brushing is another great way to exfoliate. You would just take a brush and you would literally brush your skin, just gently removing those dead skin cells from the surface. Just keep in mind also a great benefit of dry brushing and sugar scrubbing is that you're moving lymph, specifically with dry brushing. So if you're dry brushing, always move everything towards the heart because that's where all of your lymphatic fluid dumps back into circulation. Let's talk a little bit more about sugar versus salt. Which one is right for you? I love a sugar scrub personally because I love the rounded granule. It's more gentle on the face, so I can use a sugar scrub anywhere on my body. It disintegrates really quickly, and then it has an acid component because there's a natural acid content to sugar. And so not only is it helping with exfoliation because it's gritty and it's actually physically removing that top layer, it's acidic, and so that acidity is lifting off. It's like a natural acid peel. It's lifting off and helping to slough off that dead skin. So that's why I like sugar. Salt is also really nice. Salt is more intense, more angular granules to salt, and they don't dissolve as quickly, so they sit on the skin for longer. They're really good for those places that have a lot of buildup of dead skin, so your elbows and your feet are a really good place for salt scrubs. Also, a really great reason why people love salt scrubs is because of their high magnesium content in salt. So magnesium has tons of research behind it. We all know we love taking our magnesium supplements to support relaxation of the muscles. And although I couldn't find a lot of studies to back this, there's a lot of people who believe in using topical magnesium as it is the best way to absorb magnesium for the most impact on the body. It doesn't get that way, it doesn't get digested and pass through the liver first. It just goes immediately to the muscles and into the bloodstream. So hey, you've got your salt scrub and you're kind of not only enjoying it as an exfoliant, but you're also really enjoying it as this kind of entry level for magnesium. So one more thing about the exfoliation, it's just what we're doing here is we're sloughing off that dead skin. So again, if you shave or if you wax, you're going to have these new skin or these new hair follicles or these young hair follicles trying to push through all this dead skin, and they get stuck and they become ingrown hairs. And those can be really problematic. So maintaining a scrub protocol is really helpful, not only for sloughing skin, but for encouraging the growth of that hair follicle, which with it will bring all of that yummy sebaceous oil. So hopefully you're seeing the whole picture there. So Skin Therapeutics, making your own sugar scrub is really easy. I just usually grab a mason jar, I fill it, 3/4 of the way full with sugar, and then I get a chopstick and I add a bunch of oil. If you have an herbal infused oil, that's even better. You can make your own. They're really easy to make. Just use a bunch of dry herbs with some oil and make yourself a yummy infused oil. Then pour that over your sugar. Use a chopstick to make sure it's fully incorporated. And because I'm so dry, I always add a little layer of oil on top so that every time I dig into that sugar scrub, I'm getting a bunch of oil that I'm rubbing into my skin. And then there's also essential oils that you can add, of course. And then here's some other fun ingredients that I love. Marshmallow, we've talked about for how wonderfully hydrating it is. Frankincense is a resin. It's really good at helping to restore skin integrity. Orange peel is great for that acidity piece, that natural acid peel. And coffee grounds Coffee grounds are just smell good and are fun and are a different type of angular granule, kind of nice as a warming, grounding scent this time of year. And they also are rich with a lot of natural acids. So that is sugar scrubs and salt scrubs. And then of course, sweating. So this is the third piece of that trifecta of how to keep your skin supple and lovely, is promoting sweat, really helping that third kidney to do what it does to remove excess water and moisture fluids from the body. Whatever way you can do it. I have a gym membership. My gym happens to have a sauna, so that's how I make it work for me. If you want to, you can just get yourself in a really hot bath, or you can take a really hot shower, or you can do some sort of cardio exercise. But whatever you do, just try to get your body sweating. What's also cool is there's a lot of great diaphoretic herbs. Diaphoretic is an herbal action, meaning that it helps you sweat. So elderflower tea, ginger tea, cayenne tincture, really hot, but adding cayenne to your foods, peppermint, these are all great diaphoretics that are going to promote sweating. So drink a hot tea and sauna and exfoliate while you're doing it, and make sure you're getting all those yummy omega oils into your diet, and your skin will be supple and beautiful. Okay, so I missed one piece of this as we were starting this whole presentation on the skin. Not only is the skin your third kidney, it's also the liver to skin eliminatory pathway. Okay, so this is a big one. A lot of naturopaths and herbalists will look to the skin to see if you have a liver imbalance. If you're having some sort of funky skin thing come up and you don't quite know what's going on or what's the cause, a lot of practitioners will look to the liver and start supporting the liver, because there is an eliminatory pathway that goes from the liver to the skin. We know that we are eliminating waste that way because we know it is this third kidney and that we have all this urea that shows up on the skin. So it makes a lot of sense that an overtaxed liver would end up manifesting on the skin as well. So we have a great formula here at Dr. Morse's for supporting this liver to skin pathway. So if you think that your skin imbalances, things that might be manifesting on the skin, could be a deeper issue, this is a really great formula for you to check out. It's got burdock root and milk thistle, two of the best herbs I can think of for supporting a healthy liver. On top of that, and we're going to talk about both of those herbs in detail in just a moment, but on top of that, I also would love to put a little parentheses on this product label and call it our herbal bitters formula, because that's what it is. Dr. Morse added gentian and yellow dock root to our liver skin formula. And so it's a bitter formula. When you take it, you taste the bitter, and that's what you want. Believe it or not, you want to eat bitter with every meal. We are very bitter deficient in our culture. I'm talking about us Westerners. We do not eat a lot of bitter foods. And I know a lot of people who just hate the bitter flavor. And you're just going to have to teach yourself to love it, because bitter is the activator. Bitter, we have a bitter receptor on our tongue, and it tells once we taste a bitter food, once it locks into that receptor site, we have a whole cascade of physiological things that happen in the digestive system to prepare us for eating food. Once you taste bitter, you start to salivate, you start to produce more hydrochloric acid, which is stomach acid, you start to produce more bile. So you're activating the liver and the kidneys, the liver and the gallbladder. And then you also start to stimulate peristalsis, which is that undulation of the small intestine, moving all of your food. So if you feel when you eat like it makes you tired, if you feel like you have a sluggish digestion, or even if you just kind of have a sluggish constitution, you might want to consider trying our liver skin formula, taking it 15 minutes before you eat so that you taste that bitter flavor and activate all of your digestive responses. And you might notice a little bit of a change in your digestive process. So consider that. It's contraindicated for more acidic conditions, but it could be really great for folks with more sluggish conditions. Okay, so let's look at burdock and milk thistle. I'm going to take a sip of water. When I think burdock, I just think skin. I think it's one of the best herbs for supporting skin health. And what I love about it is that it's you take it internally to support that. It's not something you're slathering on your skin. I guess what I'm trying to get across with this section is that a lot of our skin support is happening from the inside out. We do, there's a lot of beautiful products on the market. There's a lot of incredible, all natural ingredient and products out there. But that's almost like putting a Band-Aid on something. It's not really like with everything we talk about at Dr. Morse, there's a deeper issue going on. And so burdock root is just one of those incredible herbs that's so good at bringing balance back to the liver and therefore bringing balance back to the skin. So it's an alterative. I've written a whole article on all about alternatives way back in the archives. I don't know if Jen has a moment to go dig that up and drop a link for you, but there's a whole article on what is an alterative, because even a lot of herbalists don't understand what an alterative is. But alterative herbs are really good at supporting eliminatory pathways throughout the body. Different alterative herbs have affinities for different body systems. Burdock root is specific to the liver and the digestive, the liver to skin alterative pathway, that eliminatory pathway from the liver to the skin. So not only that, but it's rich in inulin, which is a prebiotic. So if you actually eat burdock root, whether it's in a stir fry or Japanese like burdock salad, you want to eat burdock root in order to bring that insoluble fiber all the way into your lower large intestine. And that's where all that wonderful prebiotic fiber is going to feed healthy gut microbiome. So that is burdock. It's in our liver skin, our liver detox tea, and our pancreas support formula. And then there's milk thistle. And so milk thistle is in the Asteraceae or daisy family, and it's the seed that we use. It's got a really hard husk, and it's really the best form to take it in is as a tincture. So like in our liver skin formula, it's one of those herbs like silymarin which is this primary constituent here. It has a lot of studies behind it talking about how incredible it is for not only protecting the liver as a hepatoprotective, right here, there's that word, but also as a hepatotropho-restorative, which means it actually can help to restore the kidneys, or why do I keep saying kidneys? The liver. We're on a different body system now. Okay, hepato means liver, and then tropho-restorative means something that kind of brings things back and restores things. So I have a good sentence here. It supports the hepatic tissue regeneration both before and after toxic exposure. Pretty big deal, right? So kind of just right there to restore kidney function. Oh my gosh, kidney. To restore liver function. Gotta rewrite my brain right now. Yes, so that's what milk thistle is known for, is restoring liver function and protecting the liver. So liver skin formula for healthy skin integrity. And so as we love to fill these webinars with so much information, hopefully your head isn't exploding, but we're moving on to another body system. Another thing that is commonly needing support in the winter months is the respiratory tract and the eyes. You know, it's just that time of year when everyone kind of gets bogged down, lots of excess mucus, lots of kind of sluggishness, and things are really stuck. So, and you know, with the respiratory tract, specifically the sinuses getting congested, you also have a lot of kind of eye imbalances. You get discomfort, eye strain, and visual disturbances. And a lot of that has to do with sinus congestion, because sinus congestion will trigger the release of histamines, which can contribute to that red, itchy, and watery eye. So they're super interconnected, and we have some really great supportive formulas for helping you get a little bit support for the respiratory tract and the eyes. So here's 4 really wonderful formulas for supporting kind of this region of the body, the sinuses, the eyes, and then all the way into the lungs and the lower respiratory tract. Mullein is in all 4 of these formulas, so that's one of the herbs we're going to talk about here in just a moment. But real quick, let's just talk about each of these individually. So I love Voice Box spray. It actually comes with a spray top when you purchase it, and I take it with me when I travel. It's my go-to for planes, and I do a lot of conferences now, so being in big conference halls with lots of people, just like constantly spraying the tissues on the back of my throat. It's got golden seal, which is great for keeping out those bad microbes. Mullein leaf, which is wonderfully kind of slippery and hydrating, but also toning to the tissues, and a really good expectorant. Slippery elm is like a singer's dream. It's a lot like marshmallow root and everything we talked about with marshmallow root. And thyme. Thyme has a wonderful affinity for the respiratory tract and for bronchodilation, opening up those lungs. So wonderful formula for respiratory support. And then eye health. Eye health's primary ingredient is eye bright, which is an interesting name for an herb that's mostly working on the respiratory tract. We'll talk about that more in a minute. Mullein, again, we'll talk about more in a minute. And it's also loaded with astringent herbs that are really good at toning tissue, which a lot, helps with eye tissue and supporting eye health. And some circulatory stimulants are in this as well. So they're helping to kind of bring more circulation to the eyes and move things out. You've got lung detox. This is one of my daughter's favorites. I love giving this one to her anytime she gets any sort of cough. It's got mullein again, it's got the chickweed herb, which we talked about, and marshmallow, so it's really demulcent. I might not have even said that word yet, but that's all these hydrating herbs are really demulcent. They're emollient topically, they're demulcent internally. And then it's got the thyme leaf in it, which is wonderful for the lungs. And then 3-herb blend is just 3 herbs, mullein, fenugreek, and pleurisy. And the fenugreek, again, is much like marshmallow root. It's got that thickening of water mucopolysaccharide piece that goes with it. And so again, I was mentioning about the eye bright. It's a primary ingredient. It is the primary ingredient in Dr. Morse's eye health formula. And interestingly, eye bright supports eye health indirectly as an upper respiratory mucolytic and expectorant. Those are words that basically mean that it's getting the mucus out. Its favorable effect on the upper respiratory mucous membranes lead to the resulting healthy sheen in the conjunctiva of the eyes. So I'm going to actually go to that one first. So that's eye bright. This is what it looks like. There are about 20 species in this family. Well, not in the family. The Scrofulariaceae family also has figwort in it, but we're talking eye bright and the different kind of cousins to eye bright. And so the British species is the one that we use, and it's loaded with antioxidants. It's got iridoid glycosides, it's got flavonins, it's got anthocyanins. So all of those are really great antioxidants. And as you might know, antioxidants are just really good at building up the body over time. They're free radical scavengers. They keep us from building up oxidative stress over time. And I think of this a lot when I think of nettle. So when you're taking something preemptively, like nettle or eye bright, especially you would be taking them preemptively, you would be taking them as tonic herbs as you're building up your immune system before you get exposed to, like, let's say, a seasonal pollen. So a lot of people start taking their nettle and their eye bright religiously this time of year, knowing that they're going to have a lot of discomfort when spring comes and all of the flowers start to blossom. So just keep that in mind, that eye bright is also really good for that. And no surprise, when you are experiencing those seasonal discomforts, you have a lot of kind of like runny eye, irritation. So no wonder eye bright is really great for that. And again, it's really helping because it's helping to move out all that built up mucus that's kind of stuck in the sinuses. And then mullein. Mullein is, I mean, look at how beautiful. So this is the difference between first year mullein and second year mullein. First year mullein does not have a flowering stalk. It's just a basal rosette is what we call that. It's just all the flowers or all the leaves come from one point at the center of the plant. And then you've got the second year growth, which produces the flower. The flower is specifically good put into an oil with garlic and used in the ear for any sort of ear irritations. But we're talking about mullein for its great affinity for the lungs and the respiratory tract. It's got a lot of mucilage in it and a lot of saponins in it. So hopefully I've painted that picture for you of why those are so important. Within your lungs, you have what's called the, I had this in my head yesterday, mucociliary escalator. Ever heard of that? So you have all of your cilia which are the tiny finger-like things that are in your lungs that catch and hold onto things and produce mucus. And you have a mucociliary escalator, which is slowly undulating and moving all that mucus up and out of the lungs. So the saponin content in mullein is really good for stimulating that mucociliary escalator. And there's the doctrine of signatures, which maybe you've heard of, where a plant looks a lot like an organ that's has an affinity with. Mullein has all these tiny little hairs on the leaves. It would actually make great natural toilet paper because they're very soft. And so I think of those little hairs on the mullein as being a lot like those little cilia that are undulating inside your lungs. So as you can see, it's in a lot of great formulas. Dr. Morse loves mullein. Eye health, 3-herb blend, lung detox, voice box spray, lymphatic drainage, gentle mover. And then thyme. So thyme is really high in volatile oils, which means essential oil content. So in the leaves and stem and flowers, the essential oil content can range from approximately 0.5% to up to 3% or more. And what's really interesting about any herb that's high in essential oils, not only are there some really cool studies showing how relaxing it is to the vagus nerve, all these essential oils, pretty much anything and a lot of things in the Lamiaceae family, which is the mint family. So thyme is a mint, but they're all very lovely, supportive nervous system herbs because they are so relaxing to the vagus nerve. But also, there are two main pathways of elimination for essential oils, the kidneys, and also they are exhaled via the lungs. And so we find that a lot of time essential oil, after it's been ingested, is actually showing up in the lungs. And that's really helping with that bronchodilating piece. Bronchodilating, it's like really opening up the bronchial passageways. So thyme is just a really incredible herb for that, which is why it's in voice box spray and lung detox. So make yourself some thyme tea, make a thyme glycerate where you infuse thyme with glycerin, or try our lung detox, which is super yummy because it's in glycerin and it's got the thyme. Kids love it. And it's really great for when there's a lot of mucolytic buildup and you want to get that out. Okay, there's going to be no time for questions, I already know, because I have quite a few more slides and we are down to the final 10 minutes. So let's try to wrap this up. Hopefully you're seeing this great holistic picture of how much self-care opportunity there is for you this time of year. So good oral hygiene is a big one too. 3,000-year-old traditional healing art known as Ayurveda, which was founded in India and is still practiced worldwide. And in Ayurveda, oral hygiene is considered a fundamental aspect of overall well-being. The mouth is viewed as the gateway to the body, and maintaining its cleanliness is believed to have far-reaching effects on one's health. Okay, so in Ayurveda, there's actually already some really great therapeutics for keeping the mouth healthy. Just a really interesting quote from the Washington State Department of Health: many systemic conditions manifest themselves initially in the mouth. So each tooth, this is me saying this, each tooth has its own supply of blood. Like literally each tooth has blood going through it, lymphatic fluid going through it. And as it's moving through each tooth, it's picking up whatever is hanging out there and it's putting it into systemic circulation. And it's telling your immune cells, hey, we've got something going on up there, which could cause a whole systemic kind of histamine response, right? Doesn't feel good. So essentially, once an imbalance in the tooth and gum health leaves the mouth via the blood and the lymph vessels and can gain access to systemic circulation and adhere to even the heart valves and the heart surface. Crazy, right? So keeping healthy gums and teeth. So here's some really great options. Oil pulling is an Ayurvedic tradition that you just take a tablespoon of either coconut or sesame oil and you swish it around in your mouth for 15 minutes and then you spit it out. I would ideally not spit it into a drain, but spit it into a trash can. And what that's doing is the lipids and the oils is pulling at the teeth, and it's even pulling kind of almost from inside the teeth. That's why it's called oil pulling. So I don't have any research to back this, but if you talk to an Ayurvedic practitioner, what they're saying is happening is that through that process of swishing the oil in your mouth and all that blood moving through each of your teeth, you're actually cleansing the blood through doing the oil pulling. So it's definitely a great daily practice for good oral hygiene. And of course, tongue scraping, which that's a little tongue scraper tool right there, is really great for kind of moving things off the surface of the tongue. Flossing, I know it's not fun, but it's really critical for good oral hygiene. And then you've got Dr. Morse's tooth and gum powder. If you haven't tried this one yet, it's a really cool formula, and I love doing it with my toothpaste. So I'll put my toothpaste on my toothbrush, and then I'll dip my toothpaste brush into the powder, and it covers the toothpaste with the powder, and then I brush with that, and you get this blast of all these awesome herbs. And all these herbs individually are amazing for tooth and gum health. And then coming 2023, we're going to be launching an herbal mouthwash. So get ready for that. Okay, so immune support. Obviously, winter is a time when the immune system can get hit pretty hard. And we're not going to talk about so much what to do once you feel like you've taken a hit. This is more about supporting the body leading up to feeling crummy. So immunomodulators. Immunomodulators are herbs that are rich in vitamins, minerals, polysaccharides, and antioxidants, and they help strengthen and build natural immunity over time. Adaptogens are also starting to cross over into this immunomodulator category because they do a lot of similar things. It's all about building the body's resources over time so that when we do have an imbalance, when we do start to feel under the weather, our immune system is ready to go. It's got what it needs. We've been fortifying it over time, right? So immunomodulators are great preemptive. And then when you're kind of feeling crummy, then you go immunostimulants. That's things like echinacea, Oregon grapefruit, elderberry, and so on and so forth. What's that? Spilanthes and echinacea are a good combo. Okay, so 3 different formulas for helping you for immunomodulation. So these are great for just taking daily, supporting you whether you're detoxing or not. Superfood Explosion, I call it the original gangster supplement powder. It's been around the longest, and it's just an all-around nutritional supplement for all ages. It tastes good, and it provides some glandular support. It's just got there's this like a mega fruit complex as the first pack. Like the ingredients it's got a lot of incredible ingredients, but it's got tons of fruits, and it's also got some really great adaptogens in it. And so yeah, it's just going to really build up the immune system. It tastes good. You can add that to water or juice, all of these. This is a capsule, actually high energy by nature. This one specifically is for supporting the adrenals more than the superfood, especially if they are depleted and on that, especially with that kind of energy and the nervous system piece, you would want to go energy by nature. High energy by nature, that's loaded with royal jelly. It's one of the first ingredients, just packed with vitamins, minerals, and proteins to assist the replenishing of the immune system. So if you're not a powder person, you could also go high energy by nature and do capsules. And then we've got muscles by nature. So this is specifically for cleansing and sustaining the body after workout. So helping to remove some of those, like that acid buildup from the muscles after workout. It's got butcher's broom in it, which is specifically for sweeping out that acid. And it's also got a really great complex of builders. This is the only one that has American ginseng in it. American ginseng is not only great leading up to feeling crummy, it's great to do American ginseng once you're starting to feel your energy come back after you've been immune compromised, as you're starting to rebuild and get your strength back. Muscles by nature and taking American ginseng is a really great option. It's also got eleuthero, kelp, and hoshu or foti, really great mineral rich and adaptogen builders there. So really great to take this time of year just to kind of fortify the immune system. Here's 3 more great adaptogen herbs that I love. Well, adaptogen formulas, if you will. So licorice is specific it's a great adjunct to muscles by nature because it's really great for helping with the normal recovery associated with exercise, loaded with those saponins too, like I mentioned earlier. So you can just get pure licorice root extract. And then we've got ashwagandha, which is a great adaptogen to take in the evenings with your bedtime ritual. It's very calming adaptogen. It's one of the few. We've also got the Ultimate Immune Tonic. So that's a great daily tonic to take. Again, none of these are for when you feel like you're coming down with something. That's when you go immune stimulant. In fact, you could potentially worsen your symptoms if you continue on with something like this. But they are here to help you build up your immunity over time. And Ultimate Immune Velvet Deer Antler, which so it's sustainably harvested velvet deer. It's just the antler itself, and it's a cellular tonic, especially used for those who are feeble, depleted, and or broken down. Okay, so real quick, we'll breeze through a few more that's it for the body systems. That's it for the formulas. I just have a few more slides here, and we're going to give you access to the slide deck so you can review these slides later, because I'm going to have to kind of breeze through these last couple of concepts here. So Wim Hof, I'm not expecting you to go jump in ice water, but I would say that shocking your system in the cold months with cold is actually really great for the immune system and the nervous system. And so one trick that you can do in your own home is as you're taking your hot shower, and I know this sounds horrible, but believe it or not, it's incredibly revitalizing, is to end your shower on cold. Turn it all the way to cold, let that cold water just douse you from head to toe, and let that really seep in for a moment, and then get out of the shower and dry off. And you'll actually feel warmer because your body has just been put on high alert, like every system's firing. And it's really great for kind of just waking you up. So I've used this slide before. It's just all about remembering that community is really important. Don't forget to dance. Don't forget to sing. Don't forget to listen to stories and be enchanted by stories and comforted by the sweet territory of silence, which is all about winter. Find your community, whether this is your family or your chosen family. Find the people that you know help you release oxytocin, and reach out to them this time of year, especially if you feel like you're getting stuck in that kind of winter blues state. Don't forget to rest and digest. Again, I've mostly put this slide on here because communal cooking releases oxytocin. So invite some friends over, make a meal together, even if it's just juicing. Get some friends together to do a fast. Here are some really great herbs for supporting you in the winter months. St. John's wort, it's just an incredible herb. They say that it brings the light into the dark places within the body. It has a really similar method of action to SSRIs, or serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So that's why it's contraindicated if you're on any antidepressants. However, if you aren't and you just need it to kind of boost up your you know, emotional state, then St. John's wort is an incredible herb this time of year. I also love it as an infused oil. I love rubbing it on topically. Lemon balm is super joyous. It's a delightfully lemony herb that it's called the gladdening herb. That's what it's known for. So grow it, make tea with it, use up that lemon balm. It's just a wonderful tonic nervous system herb. It doesn't make you sleepy, but it definitely helps to lift the spirits. So bring some lemon balm into your life. You know, Dr. Morse's is all about deep detoxification. We have health crises. People are, of course, needing to go onto some really strict protocols really quickly to help to bring themselves back into balance. But be gentle with yourself this time of year. The spring is the time for deep detox. This is the time of year to just be gentle with yourself. The last thing you need is being hard on yourself because you're having a hard time detoxifying, right? So if you're finding that it's not possible for you to go all in with the protocols this time of year, that's okay. We will see you in the spring and we will totally hit it hard, and you have our support. And you also have our support now. So if you do need any support on your detox journey, don't hesitate to reach out. There's always someone on our support team ready to talk to you at info@dmhhc.com. And may your winter be a vibrant journey of self-love and self-discovery. Okay, here's a discount code you've probably all been waiting for. So you're gonna get a $5 gift card. We'll be sending that, essentially you're using the Solstice 5 and it'll give you $5 off your order. And here are all of the wonderful formulas that you have $5 off on. So fill your card up, you'll get $5 off on all of these. And I'm sorry I didn't have time for questions. I definitely really can't wait to talk to Jen and Stephanie about all the things that came up during this talk. I mean, if there's anything quick, Jen, maybe you could hop on and we could talk it through for a moment.
Yeah, one quick question was, as far as the sugar scrub, salt scrub, what is your favorite carrier oil to use with it? Like when you say
Oh, that's a
infusing,
great question.
what oil do you like?
Oh, I could go on forever about carrier oils, but I mean, everyone has olive oil probably. Careful with all oils that you already have in your home. They might have gone rancid. Start over, get all new organic oils in your home. So yeah, in a pinch, I just use the olive oil on my counter because I go through it so often that it's just nice and fresh. But so olive oil is great. I love olive oil because for me, it's like really nice, thick oil. But if you have more sensitive skin, if you're already really sebaceous, if you already have a lot of oil, you could go with more of like a sunflower, safflower, almond, or apricot, and those are less clogging to the pores. Sesame is considered really warming, so that might be your oil if you find that you run really cold. Coconut doesn't really work in a sugar scrub unless you live in the tropics. And then as far as infusing it with herbs, just real quick, if you want to stay on, I can tell you how to do a quick oil infusion. You get a mason jar, you get your dry herb. It's best to use dry herb, although there's a few exceptions. St. John's wort and arnica, you always want to do fresh. But with everything else, so like if you wanted to do comfrey, that's a great option. That actually, comfrey is known for helping to slough off specifically the keratosis pilaris that builds up on the arms. So comfrey infusion is great for that. So you pack your jar full of comfrey. I always grind up my herbs as much as I can before I add the oil because you want to really open up those cell walls to make it more accessible for the solvent to get into the herb and pull out all the good stuff. So yeah, you add your ground up comfrey to the mason jar and you just pour oil over it to cover it. And then you shake that every day for 2 to 6 weeks. You strain it out and you've got yourself an herbal infused oil. Roses, lavender, lemon balm, comfrey, calendula. Calendula is a great one for the wintertime because it's like added to stews in a lot of countries because calendula is so bright and sunny. So making a calendula infused oil is great. Makes a beautiful orange oil. So there you go. Lots of fun things to do if you're at all bored this winter.
Yep. And would you say they should use it pretty quickly, making it so fresh, within a week or another time frame?
Oh
Just
no, infused oils last a really long time. If you do it with
oh,
a fresh herb,
the
what's that?
scrubs, the scrubs,
Oh, the
using the scrubs.
scrubs. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Use those pretty quick. I mean, honestly, I have one that I keep in my gym bag that I've had going for a little while now. Um, yeah, when you're sticking your wet fingers into the sugar scrub every day, you're adding a lot of microbial intelligence to your jar, so they do go off pretty fast. I wouldn't say weeks. I would give it a month, and then I would use it up. I mean, use it up in a month, right? That's the idea anyway.
Yeah. Use it if you're making it. So awesome.
Yeah,
Very, very cool.
yeah.
Yep. I think everyone liked that
Oh, and
recipe.
be careful because the sugar scrub is slippery. And if you're in the shower using it, do not slip in your shower. Big time disclaimer there that I forgot to mention earlier. Don't slip.
Gotcha. Ask me how you know. Okay. Very
Yes.
good.
Bad stories from others. Okay. Well, thank you, Jen. Thank you,
Very
Stephanie.
well.
And thank you all for being with us this last webinar of 2023. We will be back with you for our first webinar of 2024 in February for the urinary tract. And Jen and I are joining forces. We're going to do it together. It's going to be super fun. So stay tuned for that. And again, we hope you have a bright, healthy, happy winter. And we'll see you soon. To your health.